welcome to the Big Market Debate powered by Investonomics, an initiative by ICICI Direct. Today I have with me Mr. Arun Kejriwal, founder Kejriwal Research and Investment Services, and Mr. C.A. Rudramurthy, BV, Research Head, Vachana Investments. Welcome to both of you on this webinar. So I begin with you, Mr. Kejriwal. Markets are at all-time high. They have doubled since the slump of March 2020. What has really aided the markets, and is the strength here to stay?
You've asked a brilliant question. Let's take a quick recap of the markets. COVID-19 began towards the end of March, and probably just before COVID-19 was in a full-blown affair, and markets and the country was in a state of lockdown. I think we bottomed out in the markets on the 25th of March 2020. From there, we have almost we had doubled at one point of time, and then we lost some ground, and we are now on the uptick again. Some major events that you saw during this 12 to 14 month period that stock prices doubled. One is we found India working under new conditions. For the first time, you saw that travel and hospitality expenses, which formed a large part of expenses incurred by India Inc., actually disappearing. Right. You did not have travel. You did not, therefore, have any hospitality expenses coming up. And so many companies have reported robust numbers, including FMCG companies, where periodical sales review meetings were considered the norm. Let me quote from a living example. When Wipro declared their fourth quarter results, their profits for the year were higher by 1,000 crores. And 95% of this profit came from lower SG&A costs, which is your sales, general administration, travel, etc. I do understand the software company has a lot of overseas travel, and overseas travel, including visas, etc., is quite expensive, and none of that actually happened. But just imagine, entire increase in profit comes from one single head. Let's move on. You found a new way of working, work from home, and the biggest advantage of this work from home was, without doubt, the stock markets. With nothing to do, sitting at home, you found a new breed of people who joined the markets. And if I can reel out some data so it becomes a little more interesting, we had more than 80 lakh Demat accounts which were opened in the period April to, I think, February 21. And most of these Demat accounts were first-time Demat accounts, unique Demat accounts, as you call it. Now, having opened a Demat account, a trading account, you tend to play the market. And remember, this period was when stock prices doubled. So you didn't need much of acumen, smartness, etc., to actually make some money. And we all know, history has taught us that when a first-timer makes his money and makes his first lakh and first million and so on, he tends to become the smartest bloke on earth. So yes, those stories will unfold as the year progresses, but we've had a fair amount of such people. Thirdly, if you notice, what happened was that the auto sector was down in the dumps because of BS6, which was to be introduced with effect from April 2020. And you had auto companies just not doing well. Come COVID, you suddenly realized a new urge of investors, a new urge of people to have their own personal transport rather than using public transport. And this created demand at the bottom of the pyramid. Entry-level cars, cheaper cars, but you have a confined space where probably you and maybe 2 others or 3 other members of your family can travel and fairly insulate yourself from the problems of COVID. This led to an unprecedented boom in passenger vehicles. It also saw two-wheelers and three-wheelers doing well, but the boom in passenger vehicle was unimaginable. So much so that most of the models of passenger vehicles were having a waiting period till just about some time ago, when this second round of COVID has sort of hit people a little badly. I've covered and brought about to you corporate Inc. doing well, the demand from auto, first-time investors coming to the stock market, stockbroking companies reporting their best ever numbers in probably 5 and 10 years. Carrying on, you found that there is globally a move to have a China plus one supplier for most products. And India fits into that space quite nicely. So you find that India is being looked at more favorably by most companies who want to have an alternate supplier to China because of some disruptions that has happened, because of some trust factors that have crept in, and so on. To top all this, we find that we have, even though we've had our own troubles with COVID, dealing with it, the wave picking up, slowing down, mismanagement, concerns with various supplies, by and large, we have survived and we are back on track. COVID, the second wave, had about 4.25 lakh patients on a daily basis at its peak. We are now down to well below 2 lakhs, and that has been happening for a couple of days. So we can say with confidence that probably wave 2 is also behind us. Looking at all these factors put together, we are where we are, and markets are on a solid rebound and seem to be continuing to do well in the medium to long term.
Mr. Rudramurthy, what do charts of Nifty say? Now at all-time high, do you expect this kind of a momentum to continue? Fundamentally, Mr. Arun Kejriwal is for upside, still sees some more upside for the markets. Do the charts say the same story?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me here. I see Nifty having broken now the all-time high levels of 15,431 on futures. Right now, the market is definitely at all-time highs, and then sky is the limit. We can't fix targets when markets have broken the all-time high, and we might see further more momentum to continue. For me, markets will be more stock specific than at an index level to trade. And I feel the next rally in market will be led by stock like Reliance, which has not performed for last 6 to 7 months. It will be more a stock specific market, and you may not find every stock performing like what you have seen in last 1 year. And also specific pockets will perform very well. And even especially PSU banks can do well. So the next rally in Nifty will be led by specific sectors, specific stocks, and especially stocks like Reliance, in fact, which has already given a clear breakout now, having consolidated for last 6 to 7 months. I see the next leg of Nifty move above the all-time highs will be taken up by Reliance, and PSU banks will do very, very good, especially SBI. And charts for me tells still we have a long way to go, but it will be more a market for alpha creators, stock pickers. And it's not like buy anything and you will make money. That's what we saw in last 1 year. And also, let me tell you, looking animal, we cannot see today's fundamental data, today's economic data, and say this is what is today's market. So if I see that future and if I see that expectation from now, I feel market has made a clear base at around 14,900 to 15,000 levels. So right now, we might see this momentum to continue and even test levels of 16,000. We might see that returns of around 15 to 20% kind of a return on an annualized basis from now on. And Bank Nifty can specifically outperform. And in that, especially PSU banks will do very good. And in PSU banks, I do like SBI as well as Can Bank. So one has to be very stock specific, and markets will definitely still continue its bullish move, and Reliance will hold the key for the next big up move in Nifty. from these all-time high levels.
Mr. Kejriwal, what is your view on the banking and financial space? I mean, we saw a bit of correction in the bank Nifty and then a bounce back, not towards, we are not near all-time high, but yes, a good recovery from the lows that we saw in March and April for the bank Nifty. So what is your view on the banking space? What is going to drive the growth for banks from here on?
So, Geetu, when we talk of the banking and financial space, we need to understand that we are talking of an index where the weightage of the sector is more than 60% when one talks about the Nifty. So if you want the Nifty to move, which is what I am talking, and also my colleague on the panel is talking about, that there is bullishness on the index. And if you have to see this uptrend, the banking space, or the BFSI as we call it, cannot be lagging behind and the markets rally. The good thing that has happened is that the BFSI space has become much larger and wider than what it was earlier. We now have banks, we now have small finance banks, we have NBFCs, we have housing finance companies, and a host of others which form this entire segment. A couple of things that have happened to the sector is liquidity is available dime a dozen. It's unlike the crisis that we saw last year with NBFCs, where they were starving for want of money and they had a crisis. RBI has taken cognizance of the growth of the sector and ensured that the sector doesn't starve for want of funds. Secondly, microfinance or the small finance banks and the microfinance business that they do is also a growth sector that we are finding, and we find that many of these companies are dealing with the unbanked people. It's a much more regulated market. We have a CIBIL score for even borrowers under the microfinance business. And it's not that you are lending to an unknown person, unknown group of entities. It's no longer the olden days of, say, 2005 or 2000 and earlier, when microfinance was just one big hodgepodge. It's a very regulated business. I believe we have demand for money. The availability of money, like I mentioned, is virtually at an all-time high. It's just that we need the economy to open up, life to start returning to normal before you see that this entire liquidity which is available is actually deployed. I believe we need to give 3 to 6 months to the economy to start drawing on the liquidity that is available and companies delivering. On the PSU banks, as my colleague was talking on the panel, you have this consolidation that has already taken place. 9 banks were sort of merged into 4 banks. So you actually knocked off 5 banks. We have further round of consolidation coming up, and we would have the first PSU bank being privatized probably in the next 12 months, which would set things and set the ball rolling.
Mr. Rudramurthy, anything that you like in the metal space? Because we have seen a good run up in all the metal stocks, but a bit of correction also, and now again a momentum. It's returning to metal stocks again. So anything that you like in metal space, which still offers value to the investors?
For me, definitely the small profit booking and correction what we have seen on metal sector. For me, it is a great opportunity for people who have missed the bus to catch it at least right now. And specifically 2 stocks from metals that look very good for me. Tata Steel at current levels of 1,100 is a great buy. No doubt this stock has given first the breakout, and the monthly charts tells me the first breakout came at levels of around 750. And from there, this non-stop rally in Tata Steel is seen, and having tested levels even closer to 1,230, now the stock has made a small correction and levels closer to 1,000 to 1,100. Even at current market price or any dips to levels closer to 1,000 will be a great buy on Tata Steel. And if I see the long-term chart, I feel this trend is very much intact, and having seen this huge move from levels, even from 400 it went to 750, from 750 it has gone non-stop to 1230. Now it is seeing a small amount of profit booking and consolidation. So I'm very bullish on Tata Steel. I feel for next 3 to 5 years you will see a fantastic return on longer term charts. That's what I see in Tata Steel, and it will be a great entry at current levels and even on dips to 1000. And second stock which I like from the metal space and especially from steel is SAIL, Steel Authority of India. Again, this stock first gave a breakout of on the charts at levels closer to 82, and then it saw a breakout at 100, and now it has made a small profit booking from zones of 135, 140. It has made just this correction to 120 level. So I will recommend a buy even in Steel Authority of India between levels of 100 to 110. One can accumulate this stock, have a stop loss of around 15 rupees down from there, that's up to 85, and keep buying on all dips to 100 rupees. And I see SAIL going back to its current higher levels of around 150, and from there it can even test levels of 200. So for me, Tata Steel and SAIL will do very good, specifically from steel under metals. And if I have to pick even few other stocks from the same, even National Aluminium looks very good. In fact, at current market price of 72, 73, it offers a great risk reward, because I see strong supports for this stock at levels of 68. So you are getting the entry very close to stop loss zones and strong support zones of 68 to 70. So buy at current levels of 70 to 73, look at targets of 90 rupees, which is 50% from current market price, and you have a very tight stop loss on closing basis at 68. So I will recommend Tata Steel, Steel Authority of India, as well as NALCO, National Aluminium.
Mr. Kejriwal, what is your view on the metal space? The momentum that we saw is going to continue some more, because now we are talking about global recovery, global unwinding. In India, we are facing crisis, but still the pricing, if you talk about the metal companies, the pricing is at a high. It is not coming down at all. So with the kind of a recovery and now unlocking that we are expecting to see in next few weeks and months for India, what is your view on the metal space?
So Gitu, let me break up this question into a couple of parts. So as far as the demand is concerned, it has picked up very nicely. It's not only from within the country, but it's a global demand that we are seeing. One big player in the metal space, whenever we talk about it, is China. So China was something which was an unknown factor. We didn't know how they would be reacting, but we find that China is also behaving in the same manner as the rest of the global demand supply is. So China is no longer an uncertain factor now. We saw the huge rally in commodity prices across the metal space. After seeing that rally, we saw some cooling off as user industries started reacting to the sharp price rise and being unable to pass on the price rise to their customers. There was some sort of check and balance into bringing down the price to a more realistic level. Even in India, we find that in many of the items which are required by industry, countervailing duties, import duties were reduced so that you could make the steel more affordable to user industry. This is the first round. I believe it's all over. Going forward, we'll see a moderation in price rises. We are not going to see the runaway price rise that you saw, but efficiencies of scale kicking in. We have seen over the last couple of years through the IBC process, many of the companies which were wanting capital and were struggling have closed down. They have found new buyers and they have been turned around profitably. So you have more steel capacity available which can produce steel significantly profitably. So with these changes, you'll find better production, you'll find the demand being met more efficiently. So I believe there is a second round that is going to come. Of course, the length of price rise in this second round would not certainly be as significant as you saw in the first round. But yes, there is plenty of steam left in this sector.
Mr. Rudramurthy, real estate stocks which have not been in action from last 5 to 6 years, but now it is expected that with work from home culture, people might, once the economy starts picking up, people might go in for, bigger homes and start buying real estate for their own consumption. So real estate stocks, any of them that you like on charts?
Godrej Property looks very, very good on chart, and these are specific stocks which you have to pick from specifically real estate. It's not like buy any real estate stock and you will make money. And if I see all the time frame, that is on a monthly time frame, weekly time frame, as well as daily time frame, there is a clear uptrend, and this stock has seen first breakout at levels of around 1180, and it is now trading very much above those levels, consolidating currently. And I will give a longer term target of even 2000 on this stock, Godrej Property, and current price offers a great risk reward to enter. So even at current market price or dips to 1250, 1300 zones, I'll be buying Godrej Property. Have a stop loss below this breakout zones of 1180 and look at targets of 2000. And another stock which I like from the same sector, real estate, is Kolte Patil. Again, this stock finds great support at levels closer to 200. And whenever you buy any of these stocks, what is very important is to see the risk reward. So for me, at current market price, again, Kolte Patil offers a great buy. Strong supports are at levels of 200. Current market price is 230. So I will look at dips to 210, 220 to buy. And even at current market price, for me, Kolte Patil looks very good on chart, and higher levels of 280 and then 360 can be seen in Kolte Patil. So there is a lot of legroom still left in Kolte Patil. I won't be surprised even if I see this stock doubling from current level and have a longer term target of 400 plus on Kolte Patil. Stop loss of around 200. Enter at current market price, and on dips to 210, 220, and you will see those levels of 400 to come on a longer time frame. So be very specific when it comes to real estate as a sector, and I like Godrej Property and Kolte Patil as my two top picks from that sector.
Arun sir, what is your view on real estate sector, which is lying low for, I think it's from last 5 to 6 years with high inventory level, and most of the developers, being in trouble for want of liquidity and all. But now things are really sorting out for this sector. Do you expect this sector to really pick up? And it is one of the sectors which could really create big job opportunities also.
Absolutely, Geetu. And I believe COVID has a lot to do with the revival in the real estate sector. Stark realities that have been noticed is that this sector was really struggling even before COVID started. Realizing the hardships that the sector was facing, the central governments and various state governments introduced measures, short-term and medium-term in nature, to induce growth and help to this sector. Some of the points, for example, the reduction in stamp duty, which was offered to by many of the states, where people were given these incentives that if you bought property, real estate before the 31st of March, which is the financial year in the country, you would get a substantially lower rate of tax. The Pradhan Mantri, the housing scheme that the center has launched for affordable housing has helped a lot of people look at homes. The one other thing that COVID has done is work from home becoming a reality, becoming a way of life, and possibly there being a third wave going forward, and maybe the longer term implications of COVID not disappearing completely, is making people think that you can use your home and an extra room in your home as your workplace for future. With this kind of development thinking, one finds that 2-bedroom house, which was a normal acquisition that was made by a family, they are now thinking of a 2.5-bedroom plus house, or maybe a 3-bedroom house, making the ticket size bigger only because you are buying more space. this has started happening. You also find that people are looking for residential places which are outside the main city. They don't mind traveling 50, 60 kilometers, because if you are working from home, you don't have to do that commute on a daily basis. But they are looking for open spaces where there is some amount of greenery, some amount of comfort, and the work conditions or the stay conditions become a little better. So the real estate sector seems to be reviving in a big way. And if you look at the unsold area, which was there, say, in the metros, and you look at the new developments that are happening in tier 2, tier 3 towns, you find that there is demand all across. So in let's say, the MMR region of Mumbai, where you found that the unsold property had reached levels which would be equivalent to 2 years sales and 3 years sales, has now come down significantly. The sales reported by the latest entrant who had come to the stock market, Macrotech Developers or Lodha Developers, has reported robust sales in the fourth quarter of FY21, giving an indication that things seem to be really turning around. So I believe this sector has a lot of promise, and fortunately for all of us as investors, RERA has brought about a sea change in the way regulations happen in the real estate sector. It's not like the earlier days where you paid money for a flat and you said bye-bye to your money. Now there is a much more accountability systems where your money is safe and your property, whatever you have paid for and hope to acquire, will happen in due course of time.
Arun sir, travel, tourism, this sector has been hard hit by COVID because last 2 years, all these companies have really got into deep losses. Do you expect this sector to bounce smartly once the economy is back on track and we are, through with this COVID crisis?
Gitu, with your permission, I would like to make one statement. There is a huge pent-up demand that is building up. I mean, let's take a small fact. You and I have both been probably stuck at our homes for the last 12 months or so. Given an opportunity, given the assurance that all is well, would you or me not want to take a holiday tomorrow morning if available? Yes. The answer is very, very obvious. All of us would want to. The million-dollar question is, when would that day come? I believe give it 6 to 8 months and suddenly you will find things are sort of improving. While you had this new words being coined, staycation from instead of vacation, and those kind of changes, there are innovative things being done by the travel and hospitality industry to keep themselves afloat and prevent them from sinking. I believe we need to give them maybe 8 to 10 months before they start bouncing back. A case in point, which is very, very important, if you noticed, there was this recently listed company, Barbecue Nation. In spite of COVID, they have reported robust sales in Q4. And the only reason they did it is they introduced this concept of barbecue in a box. And they pushed their sales through home deliveries. So this kept the company afloat. Actually, they made profits in the fourth quarter. And if you look at it, this is an innovation, the kind of which we'll see from many more companies as we go forward.
Anything you like in hotel space, Rudramurthy ji?
Yeah, in fact, for me, this is one of the best sectors to put your money now, because I feel the second wave will be fully done and dusted and people will forget the entire second wave might be by about first week of July. And I don't know whether the third wave is to come or not to come. Irrespective of all this, we have to clearly understand, once all this is done, you won't get the price of what you have today, the comfort of today's price you won't get. I always say buy quality at reasonable price, but that will happen only when you have good opportunity to buy because of reasons like COVID, which are all not permanent. Let's understand COVID is just a flu, and we are far, far better, stronger, and we know now how to fight it. And now the vaccination drive also being very strong, I feel from July first week, second wave COVID will be completely done. Specifically, hotels and entertainment sector, as well as somehow I'm not keen with aviation, but except aviation, if you see entertainment, if you see hotel, these things should do very, very good. Let me give some of the interesting stocks on my chart. And the first one I want to pick from hotel will be Indian Hotel, Tata Group. And again, nothing to worry on chart, great support at 110 levels. Even at current market price and any dips to 120, I'll be buying Indian Hotel. So I won't be surprised to see by December, this stock giving a handsome return of at least 40-50% from current levels. Now look at another stock like IRCTC. And for me, it's 100% monopoly. And once you are getting it today at these prices only because, yes, you have COVID second wave and you have all the fear around, or else you won't get. IRCTC might be at current levels of 1900. 1600 has been a clear support, and it tested that twice, and now the stock is back to 1900 zones again. It is consolidating in this broad range of 1600 to 1900. And again, this stock, I have a longer time frame target of around 3000 on IRCTC. So you have to be very stock specific. Indian Hotel, IRCTC, and let me give some more names. Even a recent IPO which came, EaseMyTrip. For me, this stock was a no-brainer to buy at levels of around 180 to 200. That was even below the IPO price, the issue price, and people were all talking about the fears around of COVID, second wave and all, and that was the reason why you are getting EaseMyTrip at 180, and now you want to buy it is already at around 280 to 300. But still I find lot of headroom left, and I won't be surprised to see EaseMyTrip might be at 450 to 500 levels. So any dips to levels of 250 to 260 will be a great opportunity to enter EaseMyTrip. And I may not buy at current levels of 280, 290, but dips to 250 will be a great buying opportunity. Look at even PVR and Inox. Specifically, Inox for me looks great on chart. Lot of headroom space left even from current levels, and 400 rupees is the target what I see on Inox. So stocks like Indian Hotel, IRCTC, EaseMyTrip, Inox. So you have to be very choosy and you have to select the right ones. And I'm sure you will not get current prices to buy if you wait for next 3 months, 6 months, and you are waiting for clarity to come. And for me on charts, these are all offering great risk reward, and they're available at throwaway price only because of COVID. And let me thank COVID for giving quality at reasonable price. And these companies will have a great comeback, and they know how to handle COVID. So whether there is COVID or no COVID, if you buy them at current price, still you have long way to go from now.
Mr. Kejriwal, let's talk about IPOs. I mean, what is the kind of pipeline that you see for IPOs, and when do you expect them to really hit the markets? And will they be as successful as the recent IPOs in last year have been?
So we had a lull in the IPO season from March 20 to July 20. And then the IPOs just kicked off. Barring a couple of them which have not done well, almost all IPOs have had a reasonable success at the market. Two important things that happened. The first, as I mentioned, COVID brought about a new breed of investors to the stock market, and they also came to the primary market. So you had this new surge of investors who would apply in the primary issue, and an average subscription level of between 12 and 15 lakh applications, which was the norm prior to COVID, suddenly went up to about 25 lakh applications or thereabouts. Clearly showing that the new investors were willing to put that 15,000 odd, 30,000 odd as an application amount for an IPO. If successful, they would get 50-60% of that amount as a return, and that would happen on listing day. The time between application and listing would be under 10 days. So a very handsome return in that respect. If you look at the filings that are currently happening, where people are filing their DRHPs with the regulator, the pipeline is huge. Like I said, the system is flush with liquidity. There is plenty of money available. Corporate India is looking at raising more and more funds. So even companies wanting to tap the capital markets are just sort of waiting in the queue. On the secondly, you find that many of the PE investments who were not able to exit in the last 3-4 years are also finding this a good time to exit their investments, having seen the progress with the company, etc., and there being an appetite from the market for new issues. While the going should be good, valuation is always a key for an issue tapping the markets. And whenever valuation goes haywire, where the price doesn't need or cannot be justified, you find that irrationality starts taking over. Couple of bad issues in a row, and the pie goes bad, and suddenly you find that the IPO market has taken a beating. So I believe we are going to see issues a dime a dozen. And if I had to forecast a number in the next 6 months, that is talking July to December, don't be surprised if we get more than an IPO a week.
Mr. Rudramurthy, 3 best picks that you would suggest to buy for long term.
See, currently I am very bullish on PSU banks, and for me SBI looks very, very good. And in fact, post results, stock gave a clear breakout at levels of 400 to 405. So SBI will be my top 1 pick. I'm looking for targets of 500 in medium to longer time frame. Currently available at around 425 zone. Look at the risk reward. It is something like 1:3. So at current price of 425, I'm buying, keeping a stop loss of 400, looking at targets of 500. I have 25 rupees to lose and 75 rupees to gain. So my top pick will be SBI, and on chart looks very, very good. It will make a halt first at its all-time highs, now closer to around 440 zone. And once it makes a breakout above that, 500 rupee is clearly visible to me on SBI, a safe bet from current levels. For me, the second stock, again, I'm picking a PSU stock, Can Bank. Canara Bank for me has strong support at 125. In fact, at 130, 135, very strongly I was recommending this stock again and again. But even at current market price, today, even irrespective of markets, and when Bank Nifty was down, Can Bank was still up 3 to 4%. And for me, this on longer time frame chart can even double from current level. So currently available at around 160, 155. So for me, stop loss at around 125 is important, and I'm looking for at least 1 to 2 year plus holding, and you might see those levels of 350 to 400 on Can Bank, and having a stop loss at 125 is very, very important. So 1 SBI, 2 Can Bank, and if I have to pick the third stock, again from Frontline, I feel Reliance has tested patience of a lot of people last 6-7 months, because the move has been so fast and furious. Now, having seen that big move in Reliance from levels of 850, 900 to 2,400, now stock has consolidated 6-7 months from those levels. In fact, even though we are seeing Nifty at all-time highs, Bank Nifty around 2,000 points away from all-time highs, and most of these stocks trading at all-time highs, mid-cap, small-cap index at all-time highs, all that, Reliance from peak is still down about 15%. Today, in fact, the move has started and it has made a clear breakout above levels of 2,000. And for me, 1,900 will be a very long-term support. And I won't see for any short time Reliance coming below 1,900. So I would recommend Reliance as my third pick. I know a lot of people have been waiting for a long time now in Reliance, and they might have even exited, but now the momentum has started from today. So I see Reliance even testing its current recent all-time highs of 2,400, and from there it can even make a move towards 3,000 zone. So I will have a stop loss for Reliance at around 2,000 rupee and look at targets of 3,000 on Reliance. So these 3 stocks will do very, very good, and I've picked all of them from SBI and Reliance from large cap and Can Bank as one of the best second PSU bank after SBI, which looks very good. But for me, from now on, the move will be very stock specific, and you have to identify great stocks. It's not like you buy anything. Many a times people ask me, in banks, why can't we buy Yes Bank? How is it for long term? I always say no to Yes Bank. And for me, Yes Bank at 400 was not a good buy. 200 not a good buy. Even at 15 rupee, it is not a good buy. And let me tell, when you have stocks like, let us say, HDFC Bank, why do you have to look at Yes Bank? And similarly, many a times people ask me, how do you see the charts of Idea? I say, I have no idea on Idea. And let me tell you, when you have Bharti Airtel, why do you want to look at Idea? And for me, Bharti Airtel is another stock which has tested patience of a lot of people. When these guys get out, in no time stock will give return. So you don't have to wait. Once the momentum catches in this stock, even Bharti Airtel currently available at 525, 530 level, strong support is at 510. Look at the risk reward. I have only 20 rupee to lose from current price. 510 is a very strong support on Bharti Airtel, currently at 530. I will be looking at minimum targets of 630, which is its recent highs which it has made, and even 850 is possible on Bharti Airtel. So for me, even from current level, keep aside whether Nifty is at all-time highs or mid-cap, small caps are at all-time highs, is it overvalued market, all that. For me, even at current market price, if you pick the right stocks, make a good portfolio and hold and believe in India's story, you still have a long way to go. And I believe personally that this is not an overrated market. You still have a lot of stocks to buy. Great risk rewards are offered even at current market price, but you have to be very stock specific. It will be a market where you will create a lot of alpha from current times to future. It is not like you buy anything and make money. And avoid stocks like Idea, JP Associate, Yes Bank. These are all wealth destroyers. And many a times people ask me, what about stocks like Titan, Pidilite Industry, D-Mart, and all these are highly overvalued stocks. Look at their PE multiples. All of them are above 80, 90, 100 at triple digit PE multiple. But let me tell you, even if you buy these stocks expensive, if you hold it for long term, for me, these stocks look cheaper. But it is far better than buying Yes Bank and Idea and JP Associate. So for me, people who cannot pick up stocks where I'm mentioning some of the names where you have great risk reward, I still feel stocks like Titan, D-Mart, Nestle, all this will give you great money to make even from current levels. But then if you are stock specific, you will make more and stay with quality, buy it at reasonable price, give time, and you will definitely make money believing the Indian story.
Mr. Kejriwal, one last question from you. Mid caps and small caps have clearly outperformed the broader markets in last 1 year. This kind of a momentum is expected to continue because the retail participation has grown many folds that you had just spoke about. So what is your view? I mean, one has to be cautious with mid caps and small cap stock selection, or markets are in a positive sentiment, in a positive momentum, so everything would really run out.
So Gitu, let me start by making a small comment. When you were small or when I was small, many a times our parents would have told us, "Beta, ye nahi karna, wahan mat jana, aisa nahi karna." So we all hear, even in the stock market, कि भाई ये small cap में you should be careful, mid cap you should be careful. These stocks are manipulated. There is a lot of activity which happens beyond financial numbers, etc., etc. Yet the love for mid cap and small cap that an investor has cannot be taken away.
Yes.
So if I say on your show that stay away from mid cap, small cap, people will laugh at me and will probably call me foolish. So you cannot do that. This is a part and parcel of the investor's saga. The good part is that you normally do not find institutions joining the small cap, mid cap rally or participating in them. And particularly if you look at it from the foreigner's perspective, they are normally never there. So this segment has its own charm, has its own attraction. while I cannot stop people from being a part of it, the only advice that I can really give them is that look for quality. It's not that this entire basket of 2,000, 3,000 stocks all consist of manipulated stocks, all consist of not worth investing in stocks. Pick the best. They may be expensive, but if you buy a good stock at a wrong price, probably your returns will take longer to come. If you buy a bad stock, no matter what price you buy, you can never make returns. So I'm not stopping anyone from buying the mid cap or small cap, but if a stock doesn't have fundamentals, it doesn't matter what price it is available, just ignore it.
Mr. Kejriwal, what is your view on Investonomics, an initiative by ICICI Direct?
Could you repeat it? I didn't get you.
What's your view on Investonomics, this segment of which is initiated by ICICI Direct?
Oh, I think it's an amazing concept, and I believe that earlier we had that opportunity of meeting friends from the community at various platforms like IPOs, analyst meets, etc. And all that seems to have just stopped. Now, from the comfort of your home, if you are able to still get that same feeling and detailed information shared by people from the field who give you an idea of what's happening and what's not happening, I believe it's a great initiative, and kudos to ICICI for doing what they are doing.
Mr. Rudramurthy, what is your view on this concept of Investonomics?
It is really fantastic. See the exposure what people are getting today. You have the fundamental view, you have the technical view, you know what stocks to buy, what stocks to avoid, and you're able to get perspective of what next in market, which sectors can do well. Now all this happening to people at their fingertips and available at their ease at wherever they are sitting today, and then watching these type of programs. It's a fabulous job done by ICICI. And you also have a mix of experts coming from different field, and every week they get this opportunity to learn from people and then implement those learnings to have better returns in their portfolio. It's a fantastic and a great job done. And also I'm just giving a disclaimer, in the whole show I should have mentioned more than 10-15 stocks. Most of them I have exposure to personally, and I've also recommended some of them to my clients. And it is a privilege for me to participate in this show. And also thanks to my co-host here, and also my panelists and all the people who are here. It is just a very fabulous feeling for me. And when I am hearing to Mr. Kejriwal, I can even remember my CA days and the way I used to see most of the fundamental things. But today it is more to do with charts, and that's how I have been. But the exposure what this program is giving is really good, and it is helping the retail traders as well as investors to be in the right direction. And if you are in the right direction, the result is just a matter of time. It has to come, and it will come.
Thank you, Mr. Kejriwal, and thank you, Mr. Rudramurthy, for being with us. It was a pleasure speaking with both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.